Many people know Denis Lebedev from a not very good side, but what cannot be taken away from him is courage and perseverance. The character of a warrior and constant faith in himself, which he demonstrated in the fight with the Panamanian, and the fight itself went down in boxing history as the bloodiest fight. In 2013, a showdown took place between Lebedev and Jones, which etched its place in boxing history as one of the bloodiest clashes. Both athletes were reigning WBA champions in the cruiserweight division at the time. Denis Lebedev held the status of a super champion, while his opponent was given the title of champion on leave. Despite his status, experts didn't consider the Panamanian boxer a formidable opponent for Denis. Guillermo Jones was already 41 years old, and he had been out of the ring for a long time. Denis Lebedev was in the prime of his life. He is 7 years younger than his opponent and came to the fight on a series of 4 confident victories, including 3 victories over Roy Jones Jr.
Ну, великолепная концовка. Давай, Денис, давай. Все. Это нокаут.
Sean Cox
Хорошо проваливает и
and Santander Salgado won by knockout.
Минута почти до конца. Все.
And only the fight with James Toney went the full distance, a victory by the majority of judges.
Ради чего, собственно, и хочется смотреть. Зал неистовствует.
Athletes began to warm up this fight in advance and exchanged video messages on Instagram.
Гильермо, тебе привет из России, из города Чехова. Я тебя жду.
So the Panamanian promised that he would come to Moscow and taste Russian meat. From the first rounds, the fighters unleashed a barrage of blows upon each other. Denis acted aggressively, throwing more punches and moving a lot. Despite this, the 41-year-old Jones remained unfazed, relentlessly advancing and launching his own attacks. Already in the first round, after absorbing Jones's heavy hits, Lebedev suffered a cut above his right eye, which significantly influenced the course of the fight. The swelling above his eye progressively worsened, turning into a gruesome spectacle. Lebedev did his best to finish the fight quickly, as he knew his condition was deteriorating due to the injury. The massive Panamanian knew that time was on his side, and he continued to apply his strategy, pressuring Denis and targeting his injured eye. He attacked more frequently and managed to land punches on his opponent, particularly to Lebedev's head. Despite Lebedev's power, it seemed that Guillermo was hardly affected. However, Lebedev's overall advantage allowed him to maintain the upper hand throughout most of the fight, as indicated by the judges' scorecards. The tide of the battle shifted sharply when Denis's cut, which had been present since the first round, worsened. Lebedev couldn't bear the psychological burden. This led him to become overly aggressive, attempting to prematurely end the bout, but all his efforts proved futile. Jones, however, adopted a less sportsmanlike tactic for this fight, deliberately targeting the cut.
Гильермо Джонс, по идее, так до конца еще и не стал ясен, да? И нам в какой-то мере. Может быть, и Денису тоже.
Until the fourth round, Lebedev's corner effectively managed the cut, keeping his right eye open. But as the fight continued, the situation grew more challenging.
Прямо около угла Дениса Лебедева и видел вот реально, насколько это большая опухоль и насколько тоненькая щелочка, чтобы для обозрения.
By the fifth round, Denis had lost complete sight in his right eye as the hematoma worsened. This significantly affected the dynamics of the confrontation. The Panamanian boxer became more aggressive, and his powerful strikes more frequently found their mark.
Своей левой рукой точно в глаз Денису. Эти удары не... Отлично.
Посмотрите, принимать.
Почти на автомате.
А всего только половина.
Американец явно приехал не гулять, а серьезно относится.
Но потому его называют... Ой-ой-ой.
Lebedev, meanwhile, suffered from a drastic reduction in his field of vision.
Шестой, седьмой раунд, когда он шел вперед, он потратил очень много сил.
Ну вот он начал бой.
Вот два раунда, бесспорно, за ним.
If we examine the judges' scorecards, it becomes apparent that by the 11th round, Denis miraculously maintained his lead. To secure victory, he needed to win just one more round and avoid a knockdown or knockout. But the hematoma posed a significant obstacle.
Такое чувство, что второе, за ним третье, четвертое. И Гильермо, такой боксер, уже давно бы упал бы. На лице Лебедева.
At this point, Lebedev had been virtually blind in one eye for several rounds. The swelling in his other eye, caused by the cut, also started affecting his vision.
И это непонятное падение.
Удар, посмотрите, в эту же болезненную точку.
Да, это непонятное падение.
Такого тяжелого боя.
Когда не было. И все-таки видел ударов и обоюдных попаданий в количестве.
И не было вот этой травмы.
Да, много случаев, когда...
In the closing moments of the 11th round, Jones once again landed a blow to Lebedev's right facial area. Denis couldn't endure the pain any longer and dropped to his knee. However, the Panamanian continued to fight dirty, striking Denis in the temple, which caused him to fall onto the canvas.
Все-таки видел ударов и обоюдных попаданий в количестве.
И не было вот этой травмы.
Да.
Denis Lebedev got back up, but it was clear he couldn't continue, and the referee made the decision to stop the fight, declaring a technical knockout. The fight was stopped 59 seconds before the break. Lebedev didn't contest the decision and accepted defeat. Jones reclaimed the title and pulled off a sensation, considering he was the clear underdog in this encounter. But that's not all. After the fight, instead of undergoing a medical examination, Lebedev went to his room and spent a sleepless night. It was only in the morning, at the initiative of his lawyer, that he was taken to the hospital. There, doctors explained to him that he was on the brink of death. If he hadn't sought medical help and the hematoma had spread to his temple, it could have been fatal. Fortunately, luck was on Denis's side that day. The swelling moved toward his cheek. Surgical intervention wasn't necessary. The hematoma dissipated on its own. Later on, it became clear why the aging Jones outperformed his opponent in endurance and strength. On October 18, 2013, a banned substance was found in Guillermo's blood, a substance often used by athletes to rapidly shed excess weight. It also aids in flushing out other types of doping. The use of prohibited substances led to Guillermo's suspension. The WBA Super Champion title was returned to Lebedev, and in 2015, the fight was declared a no contest. Attempts to organize a rematch between these two boxers began almost immediately after Lebedev recovered. After lengthy and complex negotiations, a rematch was scheduled for April 2014. This time, Denis's team didn't wait for Jones's doping tests to be confirmed after the fight. Samples taken 5 days before the match once again showed the presence of furosemide. This action was not forgiven. Guillermo Jones was suspended from boxing for 2 years.